Welcome back here on Prime Morning. It's time for us to go into News Flash. Like I said earlier, I will be joined by, in the studio, we have from the NPP and then the NDC. And as always, we have them here to look at the issues that have come up on the front pages of the newspapers. So, gentlemen, good morning and welcome. Okay, I hope you're good.
By His grace.
Okay,
it's a beautiful morning.
And it's a new month as well.
Sure.
When I hear by His grace, I know where we're headed. The Lali. What about you, by His grace?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm doing good by God's grace. Like you said, I like what you said. You said anytime you hear by His grace, you know the other side is not good. But we are living by the mercy of the Most High.
It has always been by the grace of God. You know, as Christians, we always give thanks to God for giving us life and giving us the opportunity to,
which is the most important thing anyway,
to have a feel of the next day. So having had a feel of the next day, we say it's by His grace, because we don't own ourselves. We are in this world by the powers of some supernatural or superhuman or super something being out there that we call God. So if it's through His will we are still alive, then
we give thanks to Him.
You remember when you go to the hospitals, rich hospitals and the lives, and those who are on life support, oxygen and the lives, look at how much they are charged for using oxygen in the hospital.
Yeah.
But we are breathing oxygen in the studios. We are not being charged by anything. So it's just by grace. If God decided to charge us, we couldn't have lived. So we are living by His grace.
Economically, I'm sure the Lord will have a different opinion.
For me, the point is,
unless you're a Christian.
The point is,
they don't believe in Christ.
Even
which people don't believe in
the Lali and his family.
The point is, even those who do not go to church, they believe that there's a supreme being out there who protects us and who looks after us. But the fact of the matter is, there's also a reason why, in spite of the fact that God takes care of us, that is why we've had entrusted individuals with responsibilities, right, to take care of us. We've entrusted individuals with responsibility to act in our favor. There's a reason why, KM, you can't sit down here and make certain decisions on behalf of the country. So somebody is clothed with that power to undertake that decision on behalf of the good people of this country. There's a reason why an individual went throughout the whole country to canvass for vote, made promise to the good people of this country, signed a social contract with the good people of this country, made certain promises that your circumstances, as it were, was not pleasant, was not good. And for that matter, I intend to turn things around. So when we are holding such individuals to their own words, it doesn't mean that we don't believe in God. Because the reason is this: as we sit down here, when you pay tax, right, it goes to certain individuals.
Yeah.
To use that tax to execute projects on behalf of the good people of this country. So when I decide to question, when I decide to question, when we're talking, I get fired. When I decide to question the misappropriation of that tax that I'm paying to certain individual, I'm paying to the state, right, that is being presided by a certain individual, it does not in any way suggest that I don't believe in God. I believe in God. That is the reason why when you go to the rich hospital that he was making reference to, if there are no oxygen and somebody needs it, the person will die. Is that not it? When I go to the rich hospital and doctors are embarking on strike, it will lead to somebody dying. Is that not it?
Yeah.
So if I go to a facility where there is no water, where people are basically sharing water with animals, and by virtue of that they end up contracting waterborne disease, right? It means somebody has neglected his or her responsibility. So holding these individuals accountable to the promise that they made to the good people of this country does not in any way suggest that I don't believe in that. God will do His part.
But the individual who's been given that responsibility.
That's why people have been elected to occupy certain
places. So that's just our preamble. But
it's had a win opportunity to go in there.
No.
See, the responsibility tasked by human beings to do to execute certain tasks for and behalf of the people. The president of the day is doing it.
Really?
He mentioned Agenda 1 hospitals are ongoing.
Okay. So
granted, road constructions are ongoing. Granted,
we'll
free
get into all of
education is
that.
ongoing. So all these projects are there to serve the interest of the masses. But you see, what brought this into the free was as a result of by His grace. And by His grace, I meant that the air that we are breathing,
so you admit that some of the things he's mentioning or important.
They're important.
Beyond that,
not that the president or the government of the day is not executing them. Okay. He's doing same. KM, you are aware that he is doing same. Look at the expansion of our road infrastructure. Okay. Look at the expansions in roads, healthcare, and other
into the conversation. But let's get into the newspapers on the front page. I have over here the Daily Graphic, and it says that promoting responsible fishing, protection of ocean vital. President Akufo-Addo asserts at Blue Economy Summit. And Assin North by-election is on June 27. And also graphic business assessed by SME Fair and Clinic in Kumasi today. Konfo Teaching Hospital suspends 2 doctors for extortion. And WVOS leave unconstitutional, Supreme Court says so. At the back page it says Vice President inaugurates House of Chiefs building and preschool refurbishes Children's Surgical Recovery Ward. So that's for the Daily Graphic. Somewhere in the middle it says tourism sector catalyst for growth, according to World Bank. And ECOWAS delegation visit Armed Forces Northern Command. And also World No Tobacco Day, 6,700 citizens die from tobacco-related diseases annually. Research shows that. So let me see if we can get a few, and then we'll move on to the others now. Suhum technical students plant 200 trees, and that's also captured in the middle page of the Daily Graphic. Suhum Hene reinstates Benkum Hene. It's also captured over there as well. So I think the major issue will be we'll have to do with the Assin North by-election, which is happening on 27. Maybe we'll get into that. But let's take the other ones that you have. Daily Guide. So you read Daily Guide for us. Daily Statement, the Lali will also take that. And then we'll pick 4 major issues and take a look at it. So what do you find on the front page?
Daily Guide. NDC's question faces 10 years for perjury. Wow. James Jetu question. Market Queens pick forms for Alan. Dom Levo's forced leave on lawful Supreme Court. So these are the stories on the front page, of the Daily Guide.
Okay, so let's get to what Delali also has. Statement.
Okay, we have on the front page of the statement, Ousted MP faces 10-year jail term for perjury as UC slated Assin North by-election for June 2027. President proposed 5-point agenda to protect ocean. 60 new SHC housing unit commission. 42 urban roads earmarked for construction in Okanke North. This is what I have.
Okay, so the dispatch is also here and is reporting on the same Assin North by-election issue. I'm sure this week it has been the talk because of what the case involved the Ousted MP was involved in. So we'll look at that. It says Assin North by-election will not be easy for NPP or NDC, and that's according to Ben Efson. And then also over here, Chachuchi Kata's mom is 98 years. And Professor Ama Ata-Edu passed on yesterday. And Opoku Prempeh spent his birthday in Ghana, says Afena. And we decided to cancel fuel subsidy in Nigeria. In 2022, we spent over $10 million on the subsidies. Nigeria's vice president says so. Alan Cash and Kojo Poku pick forms for NPP's flag bearer elections. And on graphic showbiz, don't wash dirty linen in public, says Bernard Amankwa to musicians and GH female DJs lack confidence. And that's on him we are just saying. So consider corporate gigs, if a Keys says so. And slow your roll, Yala. That's also another story that is captured in the graphic showbiz. Now, the Daily Satellite is here. And on the front page, it says that Ama Ata-Edu goes home. And that's the Daily Satellite. And Market Queens pick forms for Alan Cash. Believe he is capable of breaking the 8 for NPP. And that's also the front page of the Daily Satellite. Another one over here says we will win Assin North seat hands down. Mustafa Salam says so. And Spotlight Ghana Awards voting starts today. That's also something that has been reported by the Daily Satellite. Now let's go to the Chronicle this morning. It says Alan Cash affirms presidential ambition as market women pick up form for him. And Bawumia to launch campaign soon. Africa must protect its oceans and marine life. Akufo-Addo says so. So it looks like Alan Cash also had the same situation that Bawumia had. The fan club picking forms and all of that. Well, that also came with its own issues and all that. Now, the anchor says that embattled non-formal education director resigns, and suspicion over request for EC directors CVs. Ransford Jampo actually, speaks on that as well. So that's also something we'll look at. Yesterday, they brought a lot of talk, and so we're going to be taking a look at it. But let's take a look at the Assin North elections. Now, Ben Efson is actually projecting that it's not going to be easy for both the NPP and the NDC. Now, the NDC thinks that it's a cool deal because after what happened in Kumawu, obviously, they know how to do the work to make sure that they're able to achieve that. I'll start with yourself, Enoch. Is it something that you think Ben Efson is not really looking at it right? Because the NDC believes that this is a culture for them.
Yeah, okay. Let me use your big medium or platform to extend the greetings of His Excellency the President to the people of Ghana and your viewers, your cherished viewers who are viewing us this morning. You know the President loves Ghana and he loves the people of Ghana for the support that they give him and to his governance. Okay. We have been in government since the good people entrusted the running of the affairs of the state to us on 7th January 2017 up to this time. And having gone through several years of governance, looking at the challenges and looking at the prospects, what we've been able to do so far, I believe the good people of Ghana are thankful to the reign of His Excellency the President. Having had this challenge of meeting the COVID-19 pandemic and the global crisis in terms of the Russia-Ukrainian impasses and the like, you know, Ghana as an entity, as a country, is not an island on its own. In terms of interdependence and globalization, we depend on each other. But with all these challenges, the President and his team have done significantly well. And judging from this, these two by-elections are in Ghana, we can say it's a midterm elections, judging the performance or the outcome of His Excellency the President and the New Patriotic Party. And with what the declarations made in Kumawu, I call the Kumawu election as a declaration of the sovereign people of Ghana. Because in 2020, you remember the percentage that we garnered as a party in the parliamentary elections. It was something in the area of around 50-something%. But in the 2023 by-elections, the good people of Kumawu gave us a whooping 70-point-something% of the total outcome. Judging from that, is what they termed as well the good governance of His Excellency the President, infrastructural developments and other things, the likes. Going into the Assin North by-elections, we know that we were in charge of the seat. In fact, it was the seat was being handled by the New Patriotic Party, our Member of Parliament, and based on some misunderstandings and misgivings during the internal party primaries, we lost the seat to the NDC. And the Ousted Member of Parliament, the Ousted question, because the Supreme Court says that his name should be deleted. So he shouldn't be called a Member of Parliament because he's not a Member of Parliament. Per the laws of Ghana, because the Constitution gives the requirements or the criteria which a candidate must meet before contesting for parliamentary elections or presidential elections in this country. And having being a dual citizen was not entitled to have contested that election per the decision of the Supreme Court. And we have judicial decisions to back this. In 2012, you remember Adamu Dramani Sakande's case against Ismaila Bible against Adamu Dramani Sakande, where it was similar facts, dual citizenship. He was ousted, he was prosecuted on perjury and the like, and he ended up in jail. He died forthwith. May his soul rest in perfect.
You see the same thing happening to Kwesi because he also stand a chance of.
KM, I would say the doctrine of judicial precedence is there to guide all of us, and having sign undertaking that yes, he owed no allegiance to any other state apart from Ghana, and with the Supreme Court ruling that no, you were Canadian and a Ghanaian citizen at the same time. Before. You did not renounce your citizenship before filing to contest for the parliamentary elections in 2020, and having done so, you are not entitled. So your name should be deleted and the likes. It affirms the position that yes, the singular act of having lied to the state that he owes no allegiance to any other state apart from Ghana amounts to a perjury in its own form. And I know that he's facing almost about 5 counts or 6 counts in the High Court where the trial is ongoing. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritties of it. But what informs me is that there is a judicial decision. There is a binding precedent in the case of Sumaila Babel versus Adamu Dramani Sakande. And that gave way for Honorable Mahama Yariga to become Member of Parliament. Because having ousted Honorable Adamu Dramani Sakande, there was a by-election of which Honorable Mahama Yariga won that by-election. And the NDC in Assin North, they are crying more than they believe, as if it is happening for the first time. But they benefited. It was the Attorney General who prosecuted Adamu Dramani Sakande through the Sumaila Bible case. It was the Attorney General at the time who went through the judicial processes, got the Supreme Court to pronounce on the position of Adamu Dramani Sakande, and at the end of the day, the High Court also passed convicted and sentenced Adamu Dramani Sakande to a prison term.
So you think this is a payback time? This is a similar situation the NDC
is never a payback time. You see, in a democracy,
about it.
In a democracy, it's a rule of law. In every rule of law situation, the laws must be made to work. And judges are also not timorous souls. They understand the law. And it is not in the interest of anybody that anyone should go to jail. But if you flout the laws of the land, if you flout the rules and regulations, if you flout the public order, then the state, the mechanisms or the architects of the state, which has been put in place, must be able to settle that matter once and for all. And the Supreme Court, with its supervisory jurisdiction as a constitutional court, has pronounced on the constitutionality of Mr. Kwesi that he was not qualified at the time. And that signing a statutory declaration and making declarations to certain effects are also they also have legal connotations and the likes, of which now he's facing charges on perjury, deceit of public officer, and a whole lot of charges that has been leveled against him. Well, under Article 19 of our Constitution, the presumption of innocence, he is proven he's innocent until proven guilty. So we have to allow the laws of the land to work. In any case, I am rightly informed. I rightly know, having read the decision of Adamu Dramani Sakande and Sumaila Babel, I know that he has no stake. He's a candidate for jail.
Okay, so it means that you totally disagree with Ben Efson.
I disagree with Ben Efson. I know that the good people of Assin North will also declare that the performance of the New Patriotic Party in the last 6 years of our governance, in the last 6 years of the reign of the New Patriotic Party, has been phenomenal, and yet they are going to reward us. They are going to give us the seat back. When you visit Assin Breku and the likes, you will see astroturfs which hitherto were not there are being developed. The youth are happy that His Excellency's governance is developing youth resource centers, astroturfs that they can also resource centers that will make them happy. Road infrastructures are being developed and the likes, and they are also benefiting from this massive infrastructure projects. Most of the students in Assin North have benefited, those in second cycle education, have benefited from the free education policies and the like. I get that one hospital. I know Assin Breku very well. And that corridor, the Mankesim, the Assin Fosu Kumasi stretch of road. As it stands now, the road has been tarred. It is not because of this by-election, but when you get to even Assin Fosu Township, the township road has been dualized. It runs through up to Assin Praso, before you get to the new Edubiase district. All this stretch of national highway is being worked on, has been worked on, and I think it's almost about 95% complete. And this runs through the constituency, and they have seen the significant work that the president and his government has done. Looking at their inner roads, most of the inner roads have been awarded on contracts, and contractors are on them, working on them, and they are uplifting the infrastructure within the district and the constituency.
And that gives you a better chance over the end.
All that people want to know is that yes, you should let their vote count. And letting their vote count means that at least I voted for the New Patriotic Party. I voted for good governance. I participated in the democratic ideals and principles of this country, and this must work in my interest. And once they are seeing the results of the vote they casted, once they see the results that yes, this is the president that we voted for, these are the cabinet, these are the members, and they are delivering on their mandate, the social contract they had with us is really they are really activating it, and they are really working on the social contract.
And are ready to renew it.
They are ready to renew it. And I'm telling you, the people of Assin North are going to make a second declaration, which will tell the NDC
just like we did in Kumewu.
And the declaration in Assin North will be so significant to the extent that the seat is being held by, the seat was illegally held by the NDC. It was illegally held by the NDC because of the position because of the decision of the Supreme Court. They held it illegally. And having held a seat illegally, it means that you have some tensile strength in the constituency. So having a tensile strength, in Kumewu, they will say that, oh, that's a stronghold of the New Patriotic Party. Granted. In Assin North, let's say it's a neutral ground because they held the seat illegally. We've held it before. And they've held it illegally for once. At least we are going through a second term of an election. And the declaration from Assin North will tell the good people of Ghana that yes, the New Patriotic Party is capable of breaking the age, just like His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria did for the people of Nigeria. Just that other Democratic Union Party members in Africa and the world entirely are doing and breaking the age because of good governance and performance in their governmental processes. So I believe that the declaration that's in the is going to be so significant.
I like the fact that Delali has been very quiet.
Yes.
And he would expect you to do same.
Oh, I would do same for him
when he's talking. Delali, well, how are we seeing this? But I've seen things that it's as much as you people feel that, oh, it's something that we can easily, have our way out, he thinks that it's going to be a big deal for both of you.
Let me use this opportunity to extend a greeting to your viewership this morning. And I appreciate what a lot of Ghanaians are going through. I mean, even including NPP members, which some of them, even behind the scene, will admit to you that indeed the current situation that they are going through, they've never witnessed it under the Fourth Republican dispensation. So it's obvious that Ghanaians are going through an unprecedented economic hardship. And I want to add, when my brother was speaking, he made references to the reason why we are going through an economic turmoil. As usual, typical of the NPP, making reference to COVID, making reference to the Russia-Ukraine war. And I don't know how many times the NPP will continue to convince themselves that they think that Ghanaians buy into this, excuse me to say, this untruth, that we are in this mess because of COVID. That's not what Ghanaians believe in. Ghanaians know that we are in this mess because you were reckless. Ghanaians know that we are in this mess because you have demonstrated legendary acts of incompetence. Ghanaians know that this is not the kind of promises that you made to them when you were canvassing for their vote in 2016. Ghanaians know that when Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia led President Nana Dango Akufo-Addo to Abuso-Okan, 16th May 2016, and told the good people of Abuso-Okan that buying $1, 3 cedis 72 pesos, it's a clear demonstration that President Mahama is incompetent. At that time, the person watching us this morning, doing spare part business in Abuso-Okan, when that person was going to buy $10,000, that person needs to cough up an amount of 37,200 Ghana cedis to buy $10,000. Today, the same person as Abuso-Okan watching us this morning, that my brother is doing everything possible to convince him, need no less than 1.1 billion to go and buy the same $10,000. Ghanaians know President Nana Dango Akufo-Addo, owing to his appetite to live a luxurious lifestyle, was hiring a private jet, spending $20,000, $15,000, just because he wants to live like an Arabian king. They know. Ghanaians are aware of the fact that according to the Auditor General, the amount of revenue that this country got as a result of COVID was 21.8 billion. According to the Auditor General, he said we spend 11 billion. Where is the remaining money? Even that money that was quoted by the Auditor General, I am stating it here, that money was understated. Check the Ministry of Finance website, 17th August 2021. They reported on the Ministry of Finance website.
So they had conflicting reports?
Exactly. And I'm telling you, when you check the Ministry of Finance website, 17th August 2021, it was reported that the amount of 1 billion World Bank Rapid Response Facility that was given to Ghana was not recorded. When you remember the chair for former CJ, Chief Justice, was the chairperson of the COVID Trustee Fund. You remember? The amount of 63 million Ghana cedis that we recognized was not also recorded. So you see, we cannot sit down here and shift the blame on COVID when your recklessness, the obvious glaring corruption that has characterized this administration, the amount of money people have siphoned to the extent that the president lacked the boldness and the courage to fight against corruption. The president has assumed a post of corruption clearing agent. These are the reasons why we are in this mess. You can't blame it on COVID. In fact, it is even believed that COVID in itself was a blessing to this particular administration. So nobody should try to hoodwink the good people of this country and create a certain impression that we are in this quagmire, we are in this mess because of COVID or Russia, Ukraine. That is not the truth. But you see, the issue about by-election. And I heard my brother trying to, create a certain impression that when we went to Kumewu, owing to their figures, it means that the MPP did better. What are the statistics? What are the figures? In terms of nominal figures, what vote did you add to the vote that you had in 2020? You added 304 votes to the vote that you had in 2020. I'm talking about nominal figures. The NDC added 1,230 votes. I missed all the what do you call it, the things that you were sharing. For the first time I witnessed a by-election that NPP members were basically standing where people have queued to vote. They were giving out money. I mean, you saw some of the videos. You go to people's houses.
Which is very typical of elections, though. I mean, from both sides.
I'm talking about
this is not the first time we're seeing situations like that.
I'm talking about the fact that right there at the polling station, giving out money, cloth and what have you not. It tells you the extent to which the MPP bought the Kumewu by-election. This was supposed to be your stronghold. This is a constituency that you have won since 1996, saved 1992, that you claim that you have
over 28 years.
Exactly. You have consistently won that parliamentary seat. And so if for nothing at all, there's a by-election, you are in power, you claim that you have done so well. You claim that, listen, what you have achieved, having been in power for 6 or 7 years, is unprecedented. So why must you desperately bought yourself out, giving out money and what have you? So when you look at the statistics, he was talking about the fact that in 2020 election, they had 50-something plus vote. And in 2023 by-election, they have 70 plus vote. In 2020 election, NDC had 8%. In the by-election, we had 17%. So when you look at even in terms of percentage, in terms of the nominal figures, on the basis of the evidence, on the face of the pink sheet, NDC did better than you. When you look at the nominal figures, how many votes did the NDC add to what we call it, the vote that we had? And you are talking, when you had the very person who even contested in the 2020 election was an MPP, non-MPP person. So this time around, how many votes did that person even get in the first place? And when you raise that argument, they talk about the fact that, it was a by-election and for that matter, the voter turnout was low. Did it affect only the MPP? The voter turnout that we experienced in Kumewu, did it affect only the MPP or it affected the NDC as well? And going to the Assin North by-election, the NDC is resolved to field honorable question to represent the good people of Assin North. As for the MPP, statements, some of them are so prejudicial. He's a candidate for jail, and for that matter, it's just to create certain fear in the minds of the NDC that, okay, fine, don't field him because he's a candidate for jail. Why are you scared? Why are you afraid? If he's a candidate for jail, the NPP should be celebrating. You should be excited about it. We have confidence that he's going to win the seat for us. The Supreme Court has made a ruling, and I salute the minority on the vetting side, on the vetting committee. We are yet to even read the reason behind the ruling. We are yet to read what actually made the Supreme Court deliver that judgment. And making reference to Sakande, are the facts the same? Are the facts the same? Was Sakande still not traveling? On the very passport, the other national, I think Burkina Faso or something, was it not on the UK? Was it not still using their passports? Question denounced, applied for renunciation in 2019. In February 2020, he had left Canada.
And all this was mentioned to the courts?
And when he was filing, he presented his document before the Electoral. That is why even the Supreme Court made a statement to the effect that the Electoral Commission acted illegally. He presented his document to the Electoral Commission of the Republic of Ghana. Is that not true? Is the Electoral Commission supposed to scrutinize documents to see whether indeed somebody is eligible to contest in an election or not? When he presented his document to the Electoral Commission, what did the Electoral Commission say? Did they not give him the green light? So if indeed you want to punish Kwesi, what happened to the state institution that is mandated
to cross-check all
to cross-check and do the scrutiny? Or that state institution, when they erred, they should be left off the hook? Or when that state institution contribute to a violation of a constitutional provision, that particular state institution must not be a subject of a punishment, must be left off the hook. So with respect to what the NPP are saying relative to the Assin North, I can catalog the things that the NDC government, including Honorable Kwesi, have done as far as Assin North is concerned. You know, when you go to Assin North today as we speak, in terms of water provision, what's done by the NDC government? I'm talking road network, the bridge that was controlled, that link Assin Praso, when you go to Akonfede, was done by the NDC administration. They started lying about the same
road network he claims that the NDC.
You see, you know one thing, I can give you a video here. They started lying about it. And thank God, we are living in a digital era. GTV saw a video clip when President John Dramani Mahama have gone there to commission that project, that bridge.
At the time, Kwesi was there.
No, I'm talking about during President Mahama.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see, they lied. They were even at a point in time arrogating that project to themselves. Until the video was produced when President Mahama had gone there to commission that project.
Okay.
And they realized that they told the palpable. When we were talking, I kept quiet. There are some of the things you said I completely disagree with you, but I respected our viewership. So
you are departing from your own.
Let him learn.
So you see,
let him learn.
We have confidence in our achievement as far as the Assin North is concerned. We are saying that at the achievement of the NDC, including Honorable Jasi Kwesi, they are visible, they can be verified. If you give me time, I could read some of the projects that Honorable Kwesi, as well as the NDC, have undertaken as far as the Assin North.
So we're looking at water provision, we're looking at road network.
We're talking about chip compound.
Obviously, the same road network that he was also making references to.
We are talking about electricity. We are talking about water, provisions of water. And I can give you categories, they are here. I can list them all of them to you. So you see, the NPP basically are embarking on fear mongering. Oh, you know, one of their campaign message in the constituency: if you vote for Honorable Kwesi, you'll be a candidate for jail. Why would you want to vote for a candidate who very soon will be in jail? If you believe that you have done something so credible as far as that constituency is concerned, why are you embarking on that campaign? Why are you not able to pinpoint the things that you have done in that constituency? And when I heard my brother, so this thing is being done for 6 years, 7 years, you are still making references of project that is ongoing. You can't tell us project that you have completed. I am talking to you about a project that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Honorable Justice Kwesi, who has been an MP upon all the frustration, upon all the intimidation that you subjected him through, has become, he was so resolute and has been able to do something within that constituency. And I have no doubt that the good people of Assin North, in the 2020 election, he had 17,000 votes. The NPP candidate had 14,000. When you strike the difference, it's almost a difference of almost 3,000 votes. Right? Throughout the whole central region, he's one of the MP that did creditably well. And it tells you the extent to which the people within that constituency love him. They appreciate his selfless dedication to the development of that constituency.
So that's a total win for you.
Exactly. No amount of, no amount of lies, no amount of deceit, no amount of propaganda, no amount of trying to create a certain impression in the minds of the constituent, the electorate out there that, oh, indeed, he's a candidate for jail. Why would any political party going into an election? And your strength in going into that election is to create a fear mongering in the minds of the constituent that, when you vote for this person, you'll be a candidate for jail. We want to see the NPP touting visible, verifiable project that they've undertaken in that particular constituency. We want to meet the NPP, right, project for project, visible project within that particular constituency. And I believe that people in that constituency know the job that the NDC have done for them. They know the job within the short, what they call reign, or the short period of Honorable Jati Kwesi, the kind of developmental project he has undertaken in that constituency. And I have no doubt, come 27th of this month, the good people of Assin North will make sure that they will give a resounding victory to Honorable Jati Kwesi to continue his work as the MP of that particular constituency.
Okay, very well. If you just join us here on the show, it's News Flash this morning here on Prime Morning, and we're looking at the newspapers of what they have reported. In the studio, I have Delali, who was representing the NDC, part of the communications team, and also Enoch from the NPP. He's also a member of the communication team for the NPP. And shortly, we're looking at the issue of the Assin North by-election, which Ben Epson has indicated that it's going to be very, very tough for both the NPP and the NDC, and they share their views on that. I know you really want to, but we would have to move on to another issue. So you need to be very brief for me, so that we'll look at the EC issue of sending letters to the various institutions to bring their CVs. Just be very brief for me, so we can move on. We've got a few others to talk about.
Having listened to the Lally and the statistics that he was propounding, that in Kumawu they had 8% in 2020 and they had 17%. I mentioned that in Kumawu we had 50%, 50.something%, and in the by-elections we garnered 70.something%, which is almost about 20-something%. And in deductions, if you deduct 8 from 17, how much do you get? 9%. And even if you deduct from 50 from 70%, it's now about 20%. And he still maintains that they did significantly well. You see, this is the reason why free education is good for Ghanaians. This is the reason why. And I now understand why the NDC always have a staunch hatred for the free education policy, because they believe that the Ghanaian people, the Ghanaian youth, if they have the opportunity to learn, the propaganda machinery cannot work.
But some NDC members have also touted the free SHS policy as a good one. Just that it has not been executed well.
I'm mentioning something.
I'll be very factual on that. There have been some NDC communications, whatever team that have come on this show.
No doubt about it. I'm only crediting.
They have actually said that the free SHS is a good thing. But then
I'm only crediting
some things have
this is why Ghanaians need free education, so that people can read and write. You know, with a flip of your iPad, you get a lot of information because you've had the opportunity of going to school. You can just
which was not free education though.
No, President Mahama benefited from free education. But if you didn't benefit from free education, President Mahama, former president, benefited from free education. He benefited. You know, his father was a minister, but yes, so he went to the northern region to benefit from free education from Achimota School. So if you didn't have the opportunity, that is why President Akufo-Addo implemented this policy generally to do away with the discriminatory aspect of it, that other parts of the country are benefiting from free education while other areas are not benefiting. So the entirety, it must be free for all, so that all Ghanaian students will benefit under Article 25. Here, he mentioned that the Pra River Bridge was constructed by President Mahama. This is palpable falsehood. You see, these are some of the things. They mentioned that when you go for when you are able to secure funding for a certain project, then it means that you are the owner of that project. Have they thrown this policy or this proposal or this preamble away? That trunk of road, the facility was contracted by former president. He's actually John Papa. May God bless him. For the Japanese grant, it was I think 102 million euros or something that President Kufuor at the time procured from the Japanese government. And the Japanese government, you know, it was an aid. So they bought their own contractor. It was a Japanese contractor. I forgot the name of the contractor. That's like the phase 1 project from Bekwai, the Bekwai area, the Bekwai municipality, through to the Assin North bridge. And the bridge was inclusive. So NPP having left power, and you, based on the cockroach argument, that when the cock crows, then we see the light of the day. So it is the cock that gives us the new morning. You inherit such a project, and you call that yet for President Mahama who commissioned it. So it is President Mahama's project. Please, Ghanaians are hearing, Ghanaians are watching us. Again, should we say that the hospital projects, the polyclinics, we have a polyclinic in our Confederate and the like. Who secured the funding for these polyclinics? And in any case, if you haven't secured this funding for this polyclinic project, you could not even execute it to its finality until we came back to power. And through Honorable Ajimaimenu, we were able to complete these polyclinics and handed over the project to the good people of Assin North. And they are using and benefiting the same. Other significant projects are ongoing. And the good people of Assin North, I'm telling you, I'm promising you that we'll come back to your studio after 27th. And I'll tell you that, yes, what I told you on this platform has manifested fully. It will be a declaration that the good people of Assin North will declare that, yes, we made a mistake, having switched come to the NDC, and we have come back home. And I'm telling you, KM, that the vote will be massive. You see, he mentions that having stayed in power for 6 years, we still tout ongoing projects and the like. Delali, you stayed in power for 8 years, NDC. Delali, in terms of the governance of Ghana, the NDC has benefited significantly. Even the NDC first day benefited almost about 19 years, plus 8 years. So in the Fourth Republic, you have benefited significantly. And all these projects were there. You left them unattended. And the government has come, executing these projects, and you want the government to finish them with just a blink of a button. Is that how projects are executed? Please. What Ghanaians want to see is that, yeah, they have this challenge. It is being fixed. They can see contractors on their roads. They can see building contractors working on their dilapidated school buildings. They can see new school buildings springing up. They have seen new school buildings commissioned and in use. They have seen DEXs. They have seen improvements in their lives. The national health insurance and other things. You see, the expansion in health infrastructure, the expansion in social intervention policies and programs are benefiting the good people of Assin North. And we are not here to tout our own achievements. Having said that, the good people of Assin North will make a declaration. If they insist that they want to project, they want to fill a candidate for jail as their parliamentary candidate again. Yes, at the time in 2020, he was not qualified because he had initiated the process to renounce his citizenship. Now the citizenship has been renunciated, so he's no more a dual citizen, so he's qualified. But the ills of yesterday is still sitting on his neck. And crime has no expiry date. There is no statute of limitation. So
you think even if eventually he wins, he
can never win the elections, Delali. He can never win the elections.
It's not possible.
It is not possible. It is never possible.
Okay, all right.
It is never possible.
Okay, so let's move on to other issues. I'm sure by 27th we'll be able to come back here and see where the new conversation will head. But I'll start with you. The EC has issued a statement, a release that indicates that all state agencies are supposed to bring their CVs. Some are very angry about it because the president demanded it through the press release from the EC's office, and they are not really excited about it. When you got the news, when you read the press statement, what did you really say about it?
When I read about that of the Electoral Commission, at a point I thought it was one of those, letters that people probably sit in the comfort of their room, design it just to create a certain disaffection towards a state institution. Until I read a strong-worded post from Professor Jampo.
Yeah.
Making a statement to the effect that he thinks that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will go down in history as a president that has no respect for independent state institutions. And I pick a couple of news items from some of the credible media houses we have in the country, confirming that indeed there was a directive from the president asking regional directors of the Electoral Commission to present their CV to the presidency. For whatever reason, I don't know. I think President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, it's becoming so clear when the framers of our constitution were making certain provisions in the constitution relative to independence of certain state institutions. We basically had in mind that a time will come, a certain man will ascend to the presidency of this country who will not respect the sanctity of independent institutions of the Republic of Ghana. They had that in mind. That in as much as we're a country governed by rules, governed by law, there's a time you're going to have a president who, in spite of all his, mantra that I'm a human rights activist, I'm a respecter of the rule of law, this individual will treat our constitution with impunity. This man will not have any modicum of respect when it comes to tenets of democracy. And they had President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in mind. When I read that, it basically took me back to some of the admonishments that came from President John Ejekun Kufuor. When he said, I have worked with President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo before, he was my Attorney General. He was my Foreign Affairs Minister. Owing to what I know about him, he's undeserving to become the President of the Republic of Ghana. When he admonished NPP delegates, when I read it, I had Kofi Kumsin in mind, a known NPP activist, when he said he cannot sleep with President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo becoming the President of the Republic of Ghana. His words became so refreshing in my mind. Because you see, President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has gained a certain legendary notoriety when it comes to the extent to which he's interfering in independent state institutions. Look at the ruling coming from the Supreme Court relative to the Auditor General. What business has President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo got to do? Asking regional directors of the Electoral Commission, bring your CV to the presidency for what? What is it meant for? There's a reason why the Electoral Commission is a creation of the Constitution. There's a reason why the framers of our Constitution, the Electoral Commission, should not be a subject of dictate coming from the executive. There's a reason why the Electoral Commission is clothed with certain powers. So what is it about President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo that when you assumed the leadership of this country, the first thing you did was to find ways and means to push Charlotte Osei out? In the name of what? Violating procurement breaches. When the health minister appeared before the parliament, what did he say? He conceded that he violated procurement breaches. What has happened to him? Only for the president to go to the Bono region and told the good people of this country he see nothing wrong with the health minister breaching procurement laws. How many ministers, appointees under President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo having breached procurement law? You hounded Charlotte Osei out, appointed known NPP activist to be the one presiding over the Electoral Commission. When you are done with that, President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is the only president against all odds, defying common sense and logic, appointing known NPP communicator who go and sit on radio and represent the NPP just like I'm representing the NDs to work at the Electoral Commission.
You think the commission has been compromised? I'm
saying that the current Electoral Commission in its current state is just an extension of the NPP election directorate. I am telling you today, the current state of the current Electoral Commission is not different from the work that is being done by the NPP election directorate. And then we sit down here, President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo came when, under the fourth Republican dispensation, you see the president from the office of the president writing to the Electoral Commission regional directors that present your CV for what? To achieve what? So when you move from the regional, what they call director of Electoral Commission, then you move to the district directors of the Electoral Commission. Is the Electoral Commission not having a human resource department to scrutinize CVs of their regional directors and to advise accordingly if they find something untoward? What is the president's interest in this? Is President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo not proud about his achievement in breaking the 8? Or he's all of a sudden not proud about the Ejapa deal? He's not proud about the PDS scandal? He's not proud about the fact that he has run this economy aground? To the extent that he's not proud about the fact that he told the good people of this country that they are not going to IMF? The finance minister told us those who are advising the government to IMF are engaged in cynicism. The deputy finance minister, right there at the floor of parliament, told the good people of this country we are not going to IMF today, neither tomorrow, and possibly not even in the future. Or he's not proud about the fact that his regional chairman of the NPP said it takes a reckless, incompetent leader to run to the IMF. Or he's not proud about all the messy economic indicators. So for that matter, he's doing everything possible to compromise the sanctity of the Electoral Commission. What is the president trying to do? What is President Nana? What is he really trying to achieve? That under his tenure, he doesn't respect independent state institutions.
Unfortunately, the reasons behind that are not yet known, but I'm thinking, are there not, maybe then I'll move to him, maybe you end and then I'll move to him, and so we try and see if there has been some communication, with regards to this to the NPP as to why the president has decided to make this decision, this demands.
There cannot be any justification why President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is asking an independent state institution that is not under the what we call it's not under the dictates of the executive, asking them to submit their CV. Is President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo the one who employed what we call the regional directors of the Electoral Commission? Is that what the NPP is trying to tell us? Is the NPP trying to tell us today, when it comes to recruitment of people working with the Electoral Commission, is done by the NPP, is done by the presidency? Is that what they want to tell us? And I heard one of their communicators in one of your sister TV stations saying that, oh, the what do you call it, the wording of that particular memo was problematic because he doesn't think that the president have sanctioned that. All of a sudden, they want to create a certain impression that probably the president even doesn't know anything about it. You see, let's listen. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo must bear in mind, including the NPP members, this country was given to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in peace. This country, when President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo took over the leadership of this country, the stability of this country was guaranteed. Even what he is doing relating to how he is deliberately frustrating independent state institutions, it doesn't even happen in military regimes. In some of the countries that are being ruled by military might, by dictators and whatever, this is not how they even what we call rule their country. This is not how they interfere when it comes to independent state institutions. When President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo have confidence, have believed that indeed the NPP have done so well, and for that matter, they merit being given another term, or they merit being given another opportunity to rule. I mean, he should be able to tout what he have done. Not all this, means of trying to interfere with the Electoral Commission, to interfere in this, to do everything possible.
Okay, are there any internal communication that seeks to address this issue, so we're all able to understand that this is where we're going, this is where we're headed? Because really,
okay, I'm surprised as to the direction my brother is charting this conversation from. Okay, what is a state? I believe any student of international law will accept the fact that a state has a definite population, it has a defined territory, and it has what it takes to be recognized as a state. The president swearing the oath of allegiance and the oath of office on 7 January 2021. What mandate was entrusted into the care of the president? It was to protect and manage the state. Is the conduct of the president ultra vires? Even if granted that the memo emanated from the presidency, I don't have a direct linkage with regards to the communication, because the government is there to run the affairs of the state. And we should understand the fact that insofar as we mentioned that an institution of state is independent, doesn't make that institution sacrosanct. We were here when Justice Abulai sued the Attorney General on certain issues with regards to Parliament. And what was the position of the Supreme Court of Ghana? We all believe that the business of Parliament is a closed book. They are masters of their own rules and the likes. But when the actions of Parliament contradicts the 1992 Constitution, then the Supreme Court, the powers of the Supreme Court can be invoked. So, which means that in Ghana, when we mention independence of state institutions, does it come to say that because they are independent, nobody can go into the affairs of those state institutions? Are they not serviced with the resources of the state from the Consolidated Fund? It is only the Constitution of Ghana that is supreme. And in Ghana, when we talk of supremacy, it is the Constitution. The 1992 Constitution is the supreme document. That is untouchable. Apart from the Constitution, everything must be done in accordance with that Constitution. Granted, if the memo emanated from the presidency, there are some people who have been employed and the likes that they have questionable qualifications and the like. We have certain state universities and the like that I remember reading from Kentapia University of Skills and what Technology in Kumasi, that the registrar, Dr. So-and-so, there are issues with it. I just want to go into those merits of that matter. But certain certificates were questioned that he didn't own certain certificates and the likes. Having rise to the status of a registrar librarian, I've forgotten the exact position, a principal officer of the university, of which his certificates are being questioned. The president has the ultimate responsibility to manage the affairs of the state, for the state to prosper, for the state to become wealthier, for inclusiveness, for sustainability, for resilience, and all that you can mention. So the state is not wrong. If the memo is managed from the state, yes, it is not about the conduct of the Electoral Commission. It is not about the Electoral Commission managing elections.
There are human resource officers within
this memo
mandates this memo
that
people who come
this memo,
in and out of the place
I chance for this memo
requisite documentation or whatever it is that they would need to be able to work there. Now the president trying to handle this from that perspective, don't you think that it's a bit uncomfortable?
Why shouldn't it be uncomfortable?
Because this is a highly state independent institution. You
see, we should. The issue of independence, as I mentioned, does not amount to sacrosancy.
Yeah, but of course, that is why they've chosen certain individuals.
Do they generate their own resources to run the affairs of the institution?
Resources. Whether they generate resources or the president or the state is giving that resources. What we're trying to understand is this.
Who appoints the Deputy Electoral Commission and the Electoral Commission?
Very well, but I mean,
who appoints them?
That's the executive. But what I'm saying is, if there's a human resource officer in that same outfit,
the memo you are saying was not directed to the regional directors. In that line, there was a channel of communication. I think it was addressed to the EC.
The EC, exactly.
through the human resources to furnish the office with certain series and requirements.
But that was coming directly from the president.
No, if it was coming directly from the president, what of the presidency?
It says the president demands
tax with the responsibility to manage the affairs of the state from demanding same from a state institution. What's of the president?
So this is no way compromising the EC?
No. What will be the justification? Probably there's a vacancy upcoming.
And the executive wants...
No. In terms of appointment of Deputy Electoral Commissions or even the Electoral Commission, who appoints him? So, if your officers are qualified for certain appointments, and it is the responsibility of the president or the state to appoint, not the Electoral Commission, and the president wants to appoint from within the appointing authority be required to understand the competence of the people.
This would be a reason the president is demanding.
I am not saying officially. It is my own analysis of the situation.
Okay.
It is not formal. It is not official.
Okay.
I am not in any way communicating on this position for the presidency. But I would like to reiterate that as far as the business of running the state is concerned, the president is not bad. The president is not injuncted to go on that purview if the president is required to do same. I believe the Supreme Court has made several determinations with regards to the independence of certain state institutions and the conduct of their businesses. If they are not going into, if he's not going into the running of those institutions, fair enough, granted. That's the independence to conduct your business independently and do this without the control of any other powers or any other person, granted. But the human resource, base of those institutions who are paid with from the consolidated fund, the president or the state institution, or let's say the director of human resource at the office of the president, like who is in charge of the human resources at the executive level and the likes, we want to furnish all those details and the likes, and you think it is questionable. We shouldn't be reading politics into every facet of our national life. Ghana needs to grow. And you see, they always hide behind the curtain of independence. And like he mentioned, that the Auditor General, the Supreme Court ruling on the Auditor General, were there no precedents to that effect? In 2009, the late professor, His Excellency John Evans Fifi Atamios, may he so rest in perfect peace, wrote a letter asking the former Auditor General, Professor Edward Ajimai, to proceed on leave to serve his accumulated 242 days accumulated leave. And President Akufo-Addo acted same because Mr. Domlevo had 124 accumulated leave, and he was due for retirement. And he was asked, yes, go serve your accumulated leave and go on retirement because there was precedent. Professor Mills did same.
The Supreme Court says so.
Now the Supreme Court has clarified the issue, which will sanitize our public service, which will sanitize the corporate governance of our country, and it is good for all of us.
President
Kufuor did not act as the first to have acted in that manner, because he took precedent from what the former President Mills did. And you know, Professor Mills was a law professor with a due understanding of the law, and having gone on that score, the president also felt that yes, it was right to also do same, and he did it. So the Supreme Court has sanitized it. It is not that somebody did something wrong that the court has ruled to correct the person. It's a correction for all of us. Going forward, no one should repeat same. And it is good for our democracy. It is good for our rule of law. And we are gradually growing. Okay. So the issue of civis, independence, somebody... you see, granted, let the NDC bring Madam Lordina Mahama to become the EC chair. And KM, I promise you that the NPP will win the 2024 elections. It's not about who chairs the Electoral Commission. In Ghana, can you rig an election in Ghana? Once elections are declared, the polling stations, in your presence, after that, the declaration forms are pasted on the walls at the polling stations. Copies are given to all agents and political parties, participating political parties and the likes. Monitors like yourself, election headquarters and like, you are always present in the likes. Can you rig an election in Ghana? It's a difficult task to do same. It is not achievable. So if you feel like, let me quote Honorable ABF Husseini, my good brother. Is a testicle that will go into a hernia. You see from the first day it is spotted. You see?
The man with the promise.
When they are losing the elections, they try to deduce means that yes, because of this, because of that, because of that. KM, the 2024 elections will be the fairest elections in the history of Ghana.
Wow.
You know, Kumewu by-elections was the most peaceful by-elections ever held in the history of Ghana. I was in Akwatia in 2009 for the Akwatia Iran elections. There are 6 polling stations. Station A and B, Yoruba Box A and B, and the other one. It was just close elections. 6 polling stations. And you remember the atrocities and the mayhem in Akwatia just for 6 polling stations. 6 polling stations.
So this
several by-elections.
The Kumawu was under the EC, and so that's a credit to the EC.
Very peaceful. The process, everything, the atmosphere, security-wise, everything was peaceful. And I'm promising the NDC that the same environment will be prepared for all of us to go and account to the good people of Ghana in 2024. And if they want, they can bring Madam Lordina Mahama, the former First Lady, to become the EC chair. And I will implore His Excellency the President, if they propose, he should accept it and appoint Madam Lordina Mahama to become the EC chair.
The NPP will still win.
The NPP will still win the 2024 elections, judging from our performance.
Okay.
Because the good people of Ghana have seen the difference between water and wine.
Okay. Let's proceed to other. Let's proceed to other issue. And Alan Cash, as the Chronicle says, Alan Cash affirms presidential ambition, and on the same Chronicle front page, but we have to launch campaign soon. Then again, I'll come to you. Baumia is ready, Alan Cash is ready. They are all coming to face. Obviously, we know who is doing for the NDC, so these two are all coming to face you. Eventually, if one becomes the flag bearer.
For me, I mean, whoever represents the NPP at the end of the day is going to campaign on the records of President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And Ghanaians are going to hold that individual to accountability. Ghanaians are going to remind that individual that you were part of the President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo administration. These were some of the comments you made relative to how you intend to better the lives of the good people of this country. None of the candidates contested to become the flag bearer of the NPP can shy away from the abysmal performance of President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Are you going to run away from the fact that is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia going to look Ghanaians in the face and tell us that I mounted a campaign platform? I told the good people of this country I've had the opportunity to work at Bank of Ghana before. I told you people that we can industrialize this country without borrowing. How much have we borrowed so far? Was it lying to the good people of this country? Ghanaians will want to look at Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and say when we were making references, when he had gone to Malata markets and he had bought a ball of kinky, and you had the audacity, you had that boldness to question why that ball of kinky was sold at 1 Ghana cedis. And you had the argument that you don't even understand the reason why a bag of maize was being sold at 127 Ghana cedis at that time. Would Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia be bold enough to look Ghanaians electorate in the face and convince them why we are buying a bag of maize, 1,100 Ghanaians? Would he be able to do that? Would Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia be able to look Ghanaians in the face and recount some of his own sound bites? And even sound bites in respect to somebody like John Bodu, when he said, when the NPP assume leadership of this country, there will be so much work to the extent that we have to even import workers outside Ghana to come and work here. Can they be able to look Ghanaians in the face? What is the statistic relative to unemployment? Can Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia tell the good people of this country that he said, we intend to transform this country within 18 months? Have they been able to achieve that? The issue about corruption that has become so pervasive, to the extent that at a point in time, corruption becomes a daily affair. When you wake up in the morning, there's one scandal or the other. Look at what is currently going on in GMPC. The internal fight between NAPO and the board chairman. I mean, look at the messy nature. Look at the PDS scandal. Look at the Ejapa scandal. Look at the issue about the Galamsey report. To the extent that people right there at the presidency were deep neck as far as the Galamsey issues are concerned. When you look at some of the economic, as we speak, businessmen are crying. Never has it happened under the history of this country that individual bondholders, including former CJ, people within the age of 70, 80 years plus, picketing at the Ministry of Finance because government has failed to pay what is owing them. It has never happened before. It has never happened under the four Republicans.
And all these will go against these two?
And I'm saying that these are part of, haven't you not realized that at a point in time, as we speak, Anodom Pre is now claiming that, Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia is not the head of the economic management team. Have you not heard? All of a sudden, the man that we were told he's the economic messiah, the man we were told hold the enviable solution when dealing with all our economic mess, is all of a sudden running away from being a chairman of the economic management team. You think if all the indicators were convincing, Honorable Anodom, we want to insulate Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia from being the head of the economic management team. Because when you look at the economic indicators, they are not convincing. They are so abysmal.
Okay.
And this is not something that they can tout. It is not something that they are comfortable. This is not something they are comfortable with. So you see, when it comes to whoever lead the NPP, they themselves, without any shred of doubt, that is what Honorable Kennedy Japan will tell you that Bawumia have demonstrated that he's incompetent. That is what Honorable Kennedy Japan will tell you that the people, in making reference to Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, they are all part of this mess. He said Kennedy Japan cannot look Ghanaians in the face and give any justifiable reason why they have run to IMF.
Anyway.
So you see, what is really going to happen is this. They are going to campaign on the record of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I am proud to campaign on the record of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the campaign of Professor Johnny Van Satame, because we are proud of it.
Okay.
But they are not proud about it. That is all of a sudden.
Well, less than 3 minutes to finish this.
Yeah.
And so do it quick for me.
Yeah, KM, you gave him more time. It's good.
But you had a lot of time bantering. I've never even repeated.
You gave him more
had
time.
a lot of time.
It's good to have more time so that you speak the way you speak. You see, we are going to 2024 elections. I believe that any candidate that the New Patriotic Party selects, our party is a democratic party. We will go through the democratic means. We use the democratic means in electing a candidate to lead us into the 2024 election. Whoever is elected, being it Honorable Alankojo Chiramatin, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Honorable Kennedy Japan, Boachie Jako, and all the big names that is flying, will be able to clinch victory. We'll be able to win the 2024 election. KM, you know what? We will be campaigning on the good works and the goodwill of the former President J. Kufuor and currently the Adam Kufuor-Addo's projects. Like they will be campaigning on Professor Mills and John Dramani Mahama.
You're also doing the same.
We'll be doing the same. And we'll be comparing apples with oranges. You know what? The former president, by the grace of God, he told Ghanaians that if you've not been a president before, you cannot criticize him.
That's right. And
he's now a candidate. He's a de facto flag bearer of the NDC. Once the de facto and the perpetual flag bearer of the NDC, will continue to itemize his deeds for Ghanaians to remember whatever he did. Is it not the same President Mahama, who went to Elmina and told the good people of Elmina that the fishing harbour that we promised them, we promised constructing, the fishing harbour that President Kufuor secured funding, before leaving office that the funding was sitting down. Nobody knew where the amount of money went. The fishing harbour was left unattended to. President Akufo-Addo promised fishing harbour, and he told them in 2020 that it is a Sakawa project. It is not coming. So Ghanaians should look at it. The soundbite will be there, and the people of Elmina will play back at John Dramani Mahama that yes, you told us this, but this is the 70-something million euro fishing harbour sitting down, which has been commissioned, and it is in good use. Stellar, world-class fishing harbour of a harbour of what standard? That is benefiting the good people of Elmina. It is there for them to see. President Mahama and his time decided to build a Commander sugar factory. And out of this, they showed us a cube of sugar that it was produced from this plant. KM, the people of Commander will ask President Mahama that this plant that you built for us, that produced a cube of sugar for your tea that morning, where are ours? If you bought the sugar from Malata Market and brought it to Commander to showcase the whole people that you are producing sugar here, they will tell you.
But what did the
President Mahama according to?
What did the MPP do?
President Mahama according to?
If it was one of the
I'm coming there. President Mahama according to? According to General Martin, allow me see Ben Kaiser.
What did the MPP do about that?
I'm coming. I'll show you what we have done about it. It's another 1D1F. I'm coming there. I'm coming there. We are continuing the project. I'm coming there.
How far is that?
I'm coming there. You see, the 2024 elections will be run strictly on industrialization. I'm telling you. That is why Nana Akufo-Addo in 2017 developed the human potential of this country by implementing free education. Now the students are matured. Industrialization drive, the import substitution-led industrialization, the one nation one factory policies are ongoing. And what you mentioned is one of them, which has been given to a private person to develop them.
What's the percentage now in terms of progress?
It's almost about 90% complete now. Sooner you will see the realization of the Commander Sugar Factory. A factory that the good money of Ghanaians were pumped into it. Fanfare. Go look at the state of the facility. Even with, don't let us even go there.
President
Mahama, according to Martin Alamisi Ben Kaiser Amidu, the former Attorney General, told us that he is the only vice president who his president commissioned an investigation against him on the Airbus deal. He bought an Airbus that he had a top up. According to Ben Kaiser Amidu.
The one who described the president and mother.
According to Ben Kaiser Amidu, it is the same president who, in his tenure, received a Ford expedition from Mesue Kanazuri,
where's the Ford
the Burkinabe contractor, who was working on the Eastern Corridor Road. That road, before he drove off, the road started developing potholes. Because the president had received a Ford expedition from the contract, and we don't know what he received further. Because having received a Ford expedition, which is visual, which we cannot see, and to date, he has not even paid a gift tax to the Ghana Revenue Authority. I'm charging Reverend Dr. Mishadai to go after the former president because the laws of Ghana signifies that once you receive a gift, you need to pay the gift tax out of that property that you receive. The president, who knows this, did not pay the gift tax out of it. All these deeds are there for Ghanaians to see. We've not forgotten about the Asuntaba deal, the guinea fowl that fled to Burkina.
A lot of two will be done for this morning. This one says, "Okay, I'm a happy new month. I always believe you keep it up. Today I woke up early to watch. Okay, so let me tell you, Delali is my boss, so tell him I admire his services very much, and he's an asset to ASEC. Honestly, good submission given to the good people of you. That's coming from Queen Angie, who sent it with a few messages that would have loved to read them, but we're not able to because of our time. But let me say a big thank you to Delali for coming through this morning, representing the NDC, a member of the communication team, and also Enoka Fokwa for coming through this morning, also representing the NPPs. He's a member of the communication team. Gentlemen, thank you so much. You guys have done very well for yourselves, like really. You've not done too much fighting this morning. Okay,
and once we are done with the Assin North by-election, we have to be here to do it.
No, absolutely. We're sure that we'll have that conversation.
No, we
I've heard everything any of you have said. So
no, we will do that even on field. before the declaration.
Very good. They mean
before the
But they are losing.
I
mean, the breaking news is Honorable Justice Quincy have made a final official declaration that he intends to contest the Assin North by election. I mean, I think it's a
nobody cares.
Yeah.
Oh, no one cares.
Is that sense shivers to your spine?
No,
not at all. It's about your performance. The
only campaign message is a candidate.
The work is on the ground.
They work their grounds.
Anyway, thank you so much once again. We still have some more.
His own hometown, Assin Breku. He comes from Assin Breku. And go and look at the nice.
This weekend, I'll make a trip this weekend.
You make a trip. Sample the views of the people.
Yeah, I have to make a trip this weekend.
Assin Breku, just Kwesi's hometown, his own hometown. Go and see the nice AstroTurf President Kufuor has given to
Hey! We'll find out. I'll make a trip this weekend and find out. But thank you so much once again.